Alrighty. I think I am now live. Let me go check over on my other thingy. There we go. Okay. I am live. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. It is randomly we're streaming on a Thursday after all the Summer Game Fest and all that stuff has happened. And we're gonna be jumping into all of the stuff. Kala and Mr. Fight Monster are over on their own streams. I do have their stuff in their channel links in the description, so if you wanted to go check out what they're doing, we will hop over there pretty soon. I feel like in just about like 4-ish minutes, but I just wanted to check in with you guys. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome on to Resin Cons, as well as I made it for a live whoop. Hello, welcome on in, as well as a ZXC 1972. Hello world, hello. And Nikita. Also, by the way, if I mispronounce your guys' name, I'm so sorry. I suck at pronunciation in general, but also I'm wearing my contacts, and for some reason I can never see well when I'm looking at OBS because it's like a tiny little chat window. So I apologize if I totally mess up your guys' name. Welcome on into Sith Ari. Welcome on in. So great to have you in here. And Nikki, hello. And a whole I don't even know how to pronounce 111-316-18570. Hello. That is some type of username. And Jane, thank you so much for being here, Jane. Love seeing you in here all the time. As well as Maria, JRS Gaming. I made it excited for new Mass Effect. Yes, we are going to be talking about all of the Mass Effect stuff for sure. I also just wanted to quickly, before I lose track of what is happening, I will be providing some context for what we're going to be jumping into before I get back with Fight and Kala. But before I forget, because I usually do, where's the thingy? Where is the thingy that I've written down? Okay, I wanted to shout out to my elite members on YouTube, Brian Nichols, N7 Elite, and Salty Vandal. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate your support. I always forget to do that off the hop, but thank you guys so much. I know a few of you guys have been like members for just so many months, so I really appreciate it. And I know that you guys are looking forward to the next Mass Effect as much as I am as well. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Oh my goodness, thank you so much to Red Scare for being a member in the Paragon Light for 8 months. Really appreciate that. Pillow-chan, haven't you been on for a while? I just started. We are literally under 3 minutes, so we are all good. Tim asking when will Mass Effect 5 come out though? That is the question, right? When will Mass Effect come out? Will it come out? We will be getting to all of that, obviously, so yes. Also, Shifter, good day from Australia. Welcome on in. That is just, I have no idea what time it could be. Brianna, excited waving. Hello, excited waving back. As well as, is it Philip or Felipe S. Castro? Hello, welcome on in. So nice to you streaming again. Yeah, it's one of those things where there's not much to talk about, like obviously, because nothing is really happening in the Mass Effect land. Yeah, me, Kala, and Fight will be talking about all the stuff, especially the new trailer that just dropped for The Expanse, which is actually pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting. I have not watched the full series through or read any of the books, but I am definitely excited for it. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. I think I don't want to get into it. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for Kala because yeah, I'm gonna wait for Kala and Fight to talk about it. But oh my goodness, thank you so much, Red Scare, for those 5 Paragon 7 gift memberships. Enjoy those, Nikita, Kevin, Nikki, Brianna, and Lacey Frost. Thank you guys all so much for being here, and thank you so much, Red, for gifting those. Hello, N7 Elite. Hope you are doing well. All is definitely good. So yeah, guys, I guess we're just gonna jump into it. I'll provide a bit of context, just because I know Cal is doing that over on her stream as well. So basically, what we're gonna run through today. If you can't, stick around, you can always watch back the VOD. It usually takes like a day to upload, so just wait it out. As well as I will be putting chapters in, so you can skip around if you want to. Yeah, so the things that we're going to be discussing is obviously some theory stuff about the next Mass Effect, because that is obviously the most funnest thing and the thing that I cover on my channel the most. We'll be briefly touching on the Mass Effect TV show as well, just kind of where it's at, because a whole bunch of new people kind of got into it. As well as the Bloomberg article that Jason Schreier released yesterday. If you have not seen that, you know what? I don't know if I can find it. I think I have it here. If you guys wanted to give this a read through so you know what's happening, how? I can't even type it into my own chat. Okay, I think I have to go here. Does that work? I don't think that works. Okay, it doesn't work because it's too many characters, I think. Let me try hitting enter. Nope. If you want to just Google it, just Google Dragon Age or Mass Effect and then Bloomberg and Jason Schreier. And it should pop up. How do you spell Schreier? Give me a second, I'll tell you. Manage cookies. No, please. Please just reject all. Okay. This is what y'all can check out. Alrighty. Just type in this and Bloomberg. And I think it'll pop up if you type in Dragon Age, actually. If you guys wanted to kind of, you know, figure out that stuff. So, yeah. Wait, the show is still on? I believe, and get this, guys. Get this. The show is in pre-production. Just like everything else to do with Mass Effect, the show is in pre-production. We were just making fun of this in the Discord server the other day. Just Mass Effect in pre-production. Like, just anybody in the chat that wants to just go for it. Name a more iconic duo than Mass Effect in pre-production, though. Because right now, I don't think there is. Like, I honestly don't think. Just, oh, man. Will anything ever leave pre-production? I don't know. We will find out. We will find out. All right, y'all. I'm gonna pop on over to the thingy. Let me just get this up and running. Also, where is my chat extension? So that I can put your guys's things on the stream. I'm not seeing it. I think it's social. This one. Overlay? Nope, that one might not be it. Okay. Social. Okay. I think this is it. I think I will see your guys' chats as it pops up. Alrighty, let's pop on over and let's see what everybody is chatting about. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. We will be live for about 2 hours. So we'll see. We will see. R2D2 and 3 C3PO. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Shrek and Donkey. I feel like though, like those are like good duos. Like we're in like the Mass Effect and pre-production, or is like the like I need the wrong answers, you know? just the wrong answers. Heard it was in production. It did get a showrunner, Osric, but I don't know. I don't know if it's in production actually. But yes, welcome on in, Legendary Yobi. You're live. Yes, I am live, and we are about to join up with the peeps. So let me unmute and see what they're talking about.
Yeah, no, it's so good. Okay, I think Atharia is still kind of.
I'm here. Hello.
Oh, you're here. Perfect timing.
Hello. Yes.
I was just opening your chat to take a peek.
Okay.
She manifested you.
Oh, 100%. No, yeah.
Okay, so let's kind of talk about the elephant in the room, because I feel like we have to talk about the article. Bloomberg published an article yesterday, and honestly, I really don't think, I think a lot of people were genuinely surprised, but I'm not sure why. I think that I understand for people who haven't been following Dragon Age, but for the people who have been following the development of this game, the writing has been on the wall the entire time. Like, we've known for years about what EA was doing, flip-flopping between single player, live action, Joplin being scraped, like, or scrapped. So I was honestly kind of surprised to see a lot of the reactions yesterday, to be honest. But anyways, the article is pretty damning. It basically tells a very sad story of how Dragon Age Veilguard was just absolutely fucked, not only by EA, but also, and I know I don't think this is going to make people happy what I'm going to say, but if you read the article, then you would know that there seems to be some issues with the Mass Effect leadership taking over Dragon Age, excluding Dragon Age leadership, holding secret meetings, and um, essentially taking the reins on the project, getting funding for the ending that Dragon Age couldn't get for funding for their own project. It tells a very fucked up story of what's going on at BioWare and this favoritism of the Mass Effect dev teams, which is what David Gator has really been talking about for a long time. I mean, him and Mark Dara have been kind of talking about their experiences with BioWare and their past. And I think it's really sad because it's everything in that article really just reaffirms what they've said. Um, and I think a lot of people like Hall Reaver, yeah, I think a lot of people were already skeptical of BioWare. And now, yeah, I mean, even I am like, I guess we'll see. Like, my expectations are so far in the ground at this point. I'm not even optimistic at this point. But how are you guys feeling? How are you after seeing everything in that article, after kind of watching the layoffs and what's been going on with BioWare? I mean, how are you guys feeling towards BioWare and Mass Effect right now?
Well, or sorry if I did you want to go ahead?
No, you go.
Um, I just wanted to bring up Kala. Like we had discussed back in December, I feel like, of the whole like the Mass Effect team being the big brother and then Dragon Age being like the little brother, where like they just kind of get, forgotten and the Mass Effect team just kind of gets their way, I guess. I feel like we had discussed that at some point. So yeah, everything in the Bloomberg article didn't come as a huge surprise. Um, and I, I think what I felt a huge just range of emotions after reading it because one, I felt just devastated and frustrated for the Dragon Age devs because I'm pretty sure whatever the Mass Effect team came in and did from 2023 onward was something that the Dragon Age team wanted to do, but it sounded like they had been set deadlines that, obviously kept getting pushed back and stuff like that. So they couldn't do the thing that the Mass Effect team did anyway, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
and Jason Schreier actually, to add a little bit to context, because exactly what you said right there is definitely true. Um, Jason Schreier posted today on Blue Sky that basically the team kept basically being told that they need to release the game within 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. Like
yeah.
it was such a every time they got an extension, it was only another short extension, so they still couldn't plan far out to compensate. And also, before we really get too like into it, I don't care if people don't like the game. That's totally fine. We're just talking about the messed up development behind it. You guys are totally allowed to hate the game. I understand. I get it. But we're just talking about just kind of the fucked up development behind the actual game itself and like why a lot of things are the way that they are. I just want to say that really
Oh
quickly.
yeah. No, for sure.
But yeah, sorry. Continue what you were saying.
No, yeah, I wanted to bring that up because I was feeling the range of emotions because obviously frustration for the Dragon Age devs was there because I think they wanted to do what the Mass Effect team eventually did in Act 3 of the Veilguard, which I don't know if we're avoiding spoilers or whatever, but yeah, anyway, I guess we can get into it later. But another thing was I almost felt that, I don't know if relief was the right word, but like somewhat relieved that the Mass Effect team somewhat has the ear of EA. Like just removing the whole like the Dragon Age team got screwed and that's super annoying and frustrating. It seems like the EA execs trust the Mass Effect team on some level. Um which kind of gives me more hope for the next Mass Effect than I already had. Like it's already like pretty small, but that at least, somewhat was relieving to see. Um but again, it was just tinged with the whole like, okay, well, why didn't you just trust the Dragon Age team that way as well, right? Um yeah, and I'm not too sure the extent of, what the Mass Effect team did exactly, but I know you had talked about it, Kala, how
They did Act 3.
they did Act 3, right? Yeah. And
Mhm.
when I was playing through the Veilguard, I finished it I think like a month ago. Act 3 was really good. Like it
Act 3 is really, really, really good. No,
it
I totally agree.
but the fact that it took 50 hours to get there is, like, and it just shows that how hindered the original Dragon Age team was, by just all of these decisions that EA handcuffed them with, right? So yeah, like if like the Act 3 of Veilguard is what the Mass Effect team can pull off and is what the next Mass Effect game could be from the get-go, then I have a lot of hope for it being like received really well. Yeah, so that was just my initial thoughts on it, but yeah, go ahead, fight.
Yeah, I think on the point, the big bombshell of the article yesterday was obviously the Mass Effect team and how they were able to get what they wanted when the Dragon Age team couldn't. And someone in the Discord yesterday did make a good point that someone on the BioWare lead team, or maybe all of the Mass Effect leads, maybe knows how to deal with EA better or has better relationships with the people at EA that they report
I
to
think it's
directly.
Gamble. Yeah, I think it's Gamble.
So Gamble then, might know how to just deal with that lingo better or has a better relationship with someone at EA, which is totally possible. So I could see how that could, have influenced things in that regard. As far as like what this does for my hope and expectations for Mass Effect, I'm definitely on the hopium side of things, but over time that does get just a little bit lower and lower. Um, but the things that I look at is just like you guys were talking about. The Mass Effect team did make Act 3 of Dragon Age: The Veilguard, which, in my opinion, is the best part of the entire game and one of the best sequences that BioWare's ever made. Um, is that last final act of the Veilguard. So that kind of quality that team was able to produce, and if they can take that into the next Mass Effect game, I think that's a pretty good sign myself. But kind of like what I was mentioning yesterday is that like I kind of hate how we got to this point, but I do think like where they're at right now, it's still pretty possible that we get a good Mass Effect 5 out of all this.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree, and like I really do think that Act 3 is genuinely the strongest part of the game, but it's so frustrating knowing that knowing that the Dragon Age team wanted to do something bigger, but were not given the resources to do so. But when the Mass Effect team asked, BioWare and EA were like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead."
Yeah, that's messed up.
Yeah, and there's been contentions. There's been contentions between the two teams for so long, and this seems to really be like the culmination of it. And in the end, I mean, the Mass Effect team won, the BioWare team or the Dragon Age team is gone. So it's so fucked up that this is where we are, and it makes me a little bit bitter to know what went on behind the scenes as far as like what the devs were actually doing.
Mm-hmm.
I have some like pretty complicated feelings just because, I got to meet the devs, the Dragon Age devs,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw how much they were fighting for stuff, but like I know people are mad that there isn't a ton of choices, but they weren't given the resources to put them in.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a really sad situation, and I think a lot of people are angry, and I also think at this point a lot of people are just not sure how to feel about BioWare, Mass Effect, Mass Effect 5, and, you know, Dragon Age. And someone in chat did point out something that is true. Dragon Age Inquisition outsold Mass Effect, and Dragon Age has always been extremely successful, but BioWare just didn't know what the fuck to do with them. EA didn't know what the fuck to do with BioWare. And so we end up in this cycle of like, hey, every game, let's just like do something new and like fuck it up. Like, hey, remember that Origins game that like everybody loves and is still begging for? No. Let's move further and further away from that every game. I don't understand it. I think it's absolutely insane. But watching what EA has done to BioWare is just infuriating. And at the end of the article from yesterday, um, there's only a few dozen devs on Mass Effect. It's like around 50, and I know this. Um, it is not a large amount of devs at all. The EA Edmonton or the BioWare Edmonton location is now EA Edmonton. Like there's BioWare basically doesn't exist at this point. It's just a few devs with no location anymore. The other locations in the US are gone. Now the location in Canada is gone. I fully am scared that Mass Effect is going to be shut down. BioWare is going to be shut down. And I think that's why I'm like so hesitant on making content about Mass Effect right now, because I feel like why should I continue to invest in like my time and energy into a game that I don't even know is going to make it to the finish line? Do either of you feel a little bit like I do, or am I just so cynical at this point that that's how I've become?
No, I don't think you're cynical. I think it's totally understandable to kind of have these thoughts and feelings because like all we've heard from the BioWare studio this entire year has been nothing but bad news. And they had a gigantic layoff at the beginning of the year. Um, and we've also have heard no official news regarding the next Mass Effect game in almost 2 years. So there, there's not a whole lot to really grasp onto when it comes to thinking that this is even going to happen at this point. I still think it is going to be made. I think this is probably going to be their do or die project for BioWare as a whole. And I really do think that it's still going to happen because of Mass Effect Legendary Edition 2 and how much of a success that was.
What
Yeah,
about you,
no,
Atharia?
I definitely agree. Sorry, I'm also trying to get my my HDD set up over here, so I might have to mute for a second. But I think I definitely feel more hesitant about the next Mass Effect getting made, but also what the Bloomberg article did show is that, like Fight had said, like the Mass Effect team has more leeway. And I think part of that is because of the Legendary Edition, which I also think is tied to Gamble. Like I had done this huge video on how if you look through like everybody's LinkedIn profiles and stuff like that, because like obviously I had no life and I just looked through everybody's LinkedIn profiles. Um, you can kind of piece together how Gamble was the one who pushed the Legendary Edition. And I feel like that's why he has more kind of, I don't know, clout, if that's the right word, with the EA execs. Um, so I think, I don't think that the next Mass Effect's going to be some type of we're going to give you 300 devs to like get this game done. I do think the team is going to be smaller. Um, Especially because Gamble had put out a tweet at some point on the Claire Obscure team being small and said small agile teams can get it done or something like that. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if the dev team for the next Mass Effect is smaller. Um, but yeah, I feel like at this point, at least on the stuff that I'm covering on my channel as well, like there's not a lot of theory stuff that you can cover, especially because the game might not be made. But I love the Mass Effect IP enough that I feel like I would cover it even if it gets canceled. Um, yeah, I don't know. I guess that's how I'm feeling about it. Like I can separate my feelings toward like just all of the chaosness that's happening at BioWare from I just like love Mass Effect, if that makes any sense. Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
I feel about it.
I also think it would be extremely strange if they move forward with this Mass Effect TV show and then shut down the franchise studio. I think that would be a little weird.
Oh, I agree, but like I don't underestimate what EA would do. Like I
Exactly.
just like I think they want to invest in Mass Effect and want to see it succeed, but even in the Bloomberg article yesterday, they said that if BioWare shut down tomorrow, they wouldn't be surprised. So, I think it's really hard for me to be like, "Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna happen. It's definitely, for sure we're gonna get the game," but because I don't feel like that anymore. So, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. But I do think, like, because of the situation that BioWare and Mass Effect 5 are in, I have very much shifted focus to Exodus and now the Expanse Osiris Reborn game, which I am extremely excited about. I
Hmm.
love the Expanse. I'm a really big fan of the show. I haven't read the books yet, but so I'm really excited about the other sci-fi games that are kind of coming in to fill this void, especially while we wait for Mass Effect if it happens. So for me, I feel like I guess I'm kind of pessimistic and I'm like, well, if Mass Effect doesn't happen, at least we're going to get these other hopefully amazing sci-fi games to kind of I don't want to say take its place because I think that people who have that sentiment of like, oh yeah, we're going to replace Mass Effect. You're never going to replace Mass Effect. It's never going to be replaced. Like that's the original trilogy is irreplaceable. Um, but I hope that there being more room and more space for sci-fi RPGs reaffirms BioWare and EA that hey, people really want this genre and these games are inspired by Mass Effect. Don't fuck up the next game.
Yeah, and I think one interesting thing to think about now too is, let's assume all three of these games do come out and happen. What are the chances that both Owlcat Games and Archetype Entertainment make a better Mass Effect game than BioWare with the next Mass Effect game? Like, I don't know if I'd rather like see both of these two games come out and completely outshine Mass Effect 5, or have Mass Effect 5 come out and still kind of rank higher than those two. It's an interesting thing to think about that I've thought about the past few days.
Oh yeah. I think that I had been thinking about it too, but not necessarily from that perspective. More from the perspective of how different each franchise really is. Because when I was watching the Expanse trailer, and I just watched the first episode of the Expanse last night, um, it's very hard sci-fi. Like the
Yeah,
problems,
and the game is going to be as well.
yeah,
Hmm.
like it showed you in the trailer, the effects of gravity and stuff. Like we only really saw the effects of gravity in one mission in Mass Effect 3, with that where you're kind of walking, it's on the where you're trying to get Legion back, I think. But like that's like a constant, it feels like like they made in the Expanse trailer an emphasis of the gravity boots thing, like clicking it on and then and kind of landing. And just based on like watching the first episode, like air and water are the main problems, on like places like Ceres. So it's a completely different vibe. And from what I know, no spoilers, I don't think there's aliens necessarily in the Expanse. So I think that
Correct.
like it's gonna be completely different. I appreciate that the Expanse devs said that it was inspired by Mass Effect, but I don't think it's going to feel like a replacement or something like that. I think you can compare the two, but I feel like maybe Exodus is going to be a much closer kind of rival to Mass Effect because of the way they've kind of set it up, like there are not actual aliens. Like obviously there's gonna be the evolved humans, and things like the changelings and a whole bunch of other types of races. I feel like that one is gonna feel a lot more kind of Mass Effect D, but it also has its own thing with time dilation. Like that's not a Mass Effect problem at all, right? So I feel like they're each gonna feel very, very distinct. And I think that even if the next Mass Effect doesn't get made, people will still be missing that spark and magic of Mass Effect. Like the Asari, the Turians, and just like I feel like the Expanse and Exodus might shy away more from the AI perspective. And with the current day and age and everything we're dealing with AI just, coming into every single part and affecting every single sector of the world, I feel like if the next Mass Effect gets made and all of them just kind of stand alone, that people will be drawn to what the next Mass Effect story will be, if they do AI again, which I think they will. Yeah, so that was kind of my thoughts on how they each kind of Exodus, The Expanse, and Mass Effect will, like, they're all sci-fi, but they will each stand alone. And I think that people will always love Mass Effect for what it is.
Yeah, I agree
No,
with you. I th- I
yeah, I
think
agree
lo-
too.
I think lore and story wise, it's going to be completely different, like you were saying. But I think game design wise, they might feel pretty different, which is where I think a lot of the comparisons and expectations are going to come in. If that makes sense. Like I feel like every game has like the two companion system, all third person shooters, all in space
Mm,
things like that. So I think that's where that can kind of be drawn into how heavily compared they could be, is like the actual video game part of the game. But yeah, like you said, as
yeah.
far as the lore and story goes, it'll have a completely different feel than Mass Effect.
And I feel like lore is what people are drawn to. At least that's what I'm drawn to, Like when I was watching The Expanse, the alpha gameplay in the trailer, I was like, you could have plucked that out of like any kind of, sci-fi shooter game out there, I didn't see anything like super mind-blowing. So I feel like the lore would be the draw, at least for me, because I don't play like a lot of shooter games by default. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that each game does have the potential to really be unique, but I still think that just because each game is going to have its unique thing, like I do think that Mass Effect leans more into like the sci-fi fantasy than the Expanse does. Like the Expanse is more like, it's hard sci-fi. That's how that's how it's described. That's how they've described the game so far. But I still don't think that just because these games are going to end up so different that I can put any trust into EA that they will care to keep it um a thing. And like I need to see proof of life, I think, is
Hmm.
where I'm just at with the game. Like I want to see that the game is happening. I want to see that there is something to be invested in, to be excited about. And I really hope that this N7 day is not like last year again,
Oof.
where they're like, "Hey, we're not doing anything, bye." Cuz that kind of fucking sucked. And it also meant that there was nothing to speculate about, there was nothing to talk about. There wasn't really anything to keep the conversation around Mass Effect going unless it was negative. Like unless we're talking about the layoffs or, EA closing studios or articles like this. So I really think if they want to, like, I don't know, take hold of the narrative again, they need to do something that reassures fans and makes people excited about Mass Effect right now. Because even around like the TV show, I'm still seeing people being like, "Oh, this is going to be ass." And to be fair, my expectations are like on a scale of 1 to 100. My expectations for the TV show are even less than the game, because how many good video game adaptations do we actually have these days? Even The Last of Us, which was good for the first season, took a crazy nosedive in the second one. So, yeah, my I'm just feeling very bleak about Mass Effect right now, personally.
At least we got a good board game.
True.
Oh yeah,
That's
yes.
true.
The board game was awesome.
But I've played it enough. I need something more tangible.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, yeah. I guess on that note, if we're talking about the pessimism that Kala has, and I'm far into the hopium side, I guess Fight has already said you're in terms of where you land for the next Mass Effect, you're more on the hopium side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will always think as optimistically as I can regarding Mass Effect. It's my favorite IP of all time, my favorite game franchise ever. So like I will always want the best for it, and I will always, hope that I get the best out of it. Just because, as far as Mass Effect content goes, so far I've never been disappointed. Like I'm a big Andromeda defender too, so like I just love this world. I love the games, I love the books, everything. So I just want more of it, and want it to be good, which is why we have these conversations as well. But for the most part, I will always lean towards that hopium optimism side regarding it, just because I love it so much. So
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so I guess can I jump into my my one segment here that I have for you guys? We're gonna
Yeah, go
put
ahead.
Kala and Fight through the somewhat theory ringer. I don't know. And anybody in the chat, feel free to play along, I guess. So the segment is Paragade Interrupt, and it's basically a Q&A where you have to answer yes or no. If anyone in the chat, in my chat, has any questions you would like these guys to have to answer related to the next Mass Effect, then feel free to pop that in the chat. But we'll just start off with these 5 for now, and discover, where you guys land on the theory spectrum for the next Mass Effect. Okay, so question number 1: will Garrus or Tali be in the next Mass Effect?
No.
no.
Guys,
I think you're going to find out that both Fight and I have very similar theories.
I think
Well,
we're not supposed to
question.
elaborate, are we? We're not supposed to
No.
elaborate.
We can elaborate after the fact. This is just for my heart to just totally
Okay.
get speared through the. Yes.
People are gonna hate me after this.
No, it's okay.
I'm
It's okay.
scared.
Okay. This is gonna be great.
It's okay because Atharia's chat gets mad at me.
Oh
For
yeah.
They all because when we stream, I always keep her chat up so that I can see what people are saying there too, and so I can give her the view.
I
And
will
they get
say-
mad at
Thanks,
me.
Kala. Thanks,
I
Kala.
will say that what I want and what I think are two completely different things.
Yeah,
I appreciate
that's how
that.
I feel too.
Okay, how
Yeah,
about we do
that's
both?
how I feel too.
Okay, let's go through the list with what you think will happen, and then we'll go through the list again with what you hope will happen. How about we do that?
I love
Okay.
it.
Okay. So this is for what you think will happen in the next Mass Effect. So you both said no to Garrus or Tali being in the next Mass Effect. Will Ryder be a playable character?
No.
No.
Okay. Will it take place over 100 years from the end of Mass Effect 3?
Yes.
Yep.
Do you want a new protagonist?
Yes.
This is great.
Oh my god. That's
This
the
is-
one. That's the one.
I feel like
That's the one.
chat, like me and chat are just like devastated right now.
I'm so sorry, chat.
You're asking the tough questions.
I'm so
Okay.
sorry, chat.
Will you be crushed if Shepard doesn't return? This is
No.
technically no.
Okay, but wait.
No.
Okay, do you mean as like
Okay.
there's very different possibilities for Shepard to return. I want Shepard to return in the sense that people talk about Shepard. Maybe we see Liara as like time capsule. Maybe we see like flashbacks or, VODs like of Shepard, but I don't think Shepard is going to be in the flesh. Like I don't think at all. Like I don't think we're going to see Shepard. I don't think Shepard is going to be a playable character or a kind of like a not a companion, but what am I thinking of? Like a like an advisor. I don't think we're going to
Like
see
an
that
ad-
either. But I
Sorry, I
want
almost
to like I would love to see the Shepard VI. I think that would be funny.
Oh yeah. Wait, so
But I
That
want
would
to
be
see like
hilarious.
Shepard honored in other ways.
are you here for the Shepard AI?
No. No, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm more for the Shepard AI than I am actual Shepard.
Oh, okay. Let's dive into
Interesting.
that then, because that was basically my last question. We can go through it again after a bit of elaboration. Why are you more into the Shepherd AI than in the flesh? OG.
Ah, so many reasons. I really want Shepard to just kind of stay in the trilogy and have that be Shepard's trilogy. Um, I think having Shepard, especially as the main playable character in Mass Effect 5, would be an extremely desperate approach to things. Um, and I mean, with the current state of EA and BioWare, I don't want them to like hurt Shepard's reputation or legacy as a video game character at all. So I kind of want just Shepard to kind of be, that legend, that like almost mystical figure that the Stargazer talks about at the end of Mass Effect 3. And so
That's kind of how I feel too, yeah.
I
Gotcha.
just I want Shepard to kind of play that role, and like what Kala was saying, have Shepard or Mark Meer and Jennifer Hale included as Shepard in the game in other ways.
So like more of like
I
an
have
Anderson type character, or
I don't know about like an Anderson
no.
type character, but like kind of like what Kala was saying with flashbacks or different recordings or things we find, stuff like that. I wouldn't. I don't think I would like Shepard included in a role like that, especially because in every ending besides one, Shepard dies. So I wouldn't want to like have to break all of those other different endings as a possibility in Mass Effect 3. And I know there's different ways that we've talked about that we can bring Shepard back, but I don't know.
I have counter questions.
oh, okay. Here
I'm
we
so
go.
scared.
Callous counter questions. I'm actually
Okay,
scared now. Yeah.
here are my counter questions. And they basically kind of explain why I feel the way that I do, but okay, my counter questions. Do you trust the current writing team to write the Shepard that we knew, whose story ended in 2012, 13 years ago? Do you trust them to be able to recapture the writing that someone else did? Because there are no veteran writers on the current Mass Effect team that wrote for Shepard or any like no one, no writer from the original trilogy. Even oh my gosh, why can't I remember his name? It's gonna piss me off. He wrote for the Normandy and he wrote like the crew on the Normandy and he was moved to another studio.
Oh,
So there is no writers
it's
from
not
the
Lucas,
original
right?
trilogy.
It's not
Who?
Lucas Christensen. No.
No, Lucas Christiansen hasn't he was fired I think in
Okay.
2023.
Okay.
Um so do you guys trust the current writers to write Shepard that we knew but haven't known for 13 years and were written by someone else?
I do
Yes,
not.
You do.
I do. Um,
I do
I
not at
I
all.
do specifically because I have been listening to Michael Tucker's Beyond the Screenplay podcast. And if you go look at, he actually did an episode on Mass Effect. He had gotten, I'm blanking on the guest he had on, but I think it was before he got hired by BioWare. So it was kind of more like his true thoughts, you know? And
Mhm.
he had a guest on from Game Maker's Toolkit, I think. I don't know who it was, the maker of Game Maker's Toolkit, the YouTube channel. And when I was listening to Michael talk about Mass Effect and what it meant to him, I knew that he gets it, you know? And they were specifically talking about how Shepard is a hybrid of a like the
But
traditional RPG protagonist to, fully just having no choice whatsoever. But go ahead, Gala.
I was just gonna say, I know I watched what you watch, and I do think they have a good idea of the concept of Shepard,
Mm.
but the idea of someone writing Shepard with the same wit, the same humor,
Mm.
the same like I play a lot of Renegades, so like the same, pragmatic approach, like the Shepard has a very distinct tone, and they couldn't, you know, they haven't been able to replicate that. Even BioWare, with some of their old writers, hasn't been able to replicate that with any of their other projects. So for me, when I look at it and I'm like, they have no senior writers who worked on the trilogy, why would I think that they could write the Shepard that we knew? Like,
I
do I think they
assume
could write a Shepard? Sure. Do I think that they could write the Shepard that people are wanting back? No. I think that's like the main thing for me is like, I just don't think that that Shepard could ever be captured, especially without the people who created Shepard in the first place.
yeah. I guess I'm also on the line of if Mary DeMarle is on the team, I assume she is going to single-handedly write Shepard's lines. Like assuming that when they hire a bunch of writers and each one is going to take like a companion, I assume Mary would be writing Shepard.
I mean, we don't
So
know any other writers right now, right?
no,
We
no,
only
I
know
don't think so.
Mary. Yeah.
Mary. And I don't even know if Michael Tucker's going to write. He's just the narrative designer, which I'm not actually sure what the difference is between the designer and the director. Um,
That's a good question.
I
I'm actually
assume
not
though,
sure either.
because Mary has written like she wrote for Guardians of the Galaxy, which won, best narrative design. So I assume I guess my where my hope comes from is from assumptions. So it's not like so solidly like set in stone. Like once we actually start getting concrete information about like, okay, this is who's on the team and stuff like that, then I'm sure I'm obviously going to be changing my thoughts on it. But as of right now, assuming that Mary DeMarle is going to write Shepard, I would 100% want her to do that because I think she would cook and I think she would try her best to if our Shepard does come back to nail that, and I think she has the skills to do so. I guess that's where I'm at with that.
I think I want to see her write something new. Like
Hmm.
she's a very accomplished writer, like obviously like you were just talking about. I think I want to see a new take on Mass Effect. I absolutely trust Mary DeMarle, and is it Mary DeMarley? I can't remember.
I
I've never
think it's
known.
Mary DeMarle
I think it's Mary DeMarle.
based
Yeah.
on based on French, my Canadian
Oh,
French.
okay,
I
okay.
think it's
Yeah.
DeMarle.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see I think I'm just ready for something new. Also, to continue my questions, do you think that if Shepard returns, there is any room for new companions, new romances, or do you think that all of the past companions, all of the past romances would have to return as well?
That's actually my biggest reason on why I do not think Shepard is going to come back as the main protagonist, at least.
Yeah, I think so too. What do you think, Atharia?
Um, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like I'm a little bit unhinged on this, but ever since Liara picked up the N7 insignia and like brushed it, I was like, the blue children are back on the menu. Like this is gonna be like an actual thing that could happen. But again, I'm a little bit unhinged. Um, but to the question, like, will it only be a cast of old companions? I don't think so. I don't think if Shepard comes back, they have to limit it to that. I think people want new companions, and I think that people would want to have like new um options to romance Shepard if that's a thing, whether it's like, 10 years after the events of Mass Effect 3 or 700. I think that could be interesting to see. So, yeah. But also I'm definitely more unhinged. I'm like I see the Liara brush of the N7 insignia and I'm like, I think I know what they're putting down, but I wouldn't be completely crushed if that isn't actually the case, and it's more along the lines of like what Calla, what you think Liara's brushing it off in memory or something like that. That could be the case too. So
And I guess my final question then. I think all of your theories kind of hinge on having Shepard return. Would you be disappointed and would it impact your enjoyment of the game if Mass Effect 5 is not about Shepard?
no, and I think that people might have an impression that it would because a lot of my theories are revolving around that, but that's just because I'm I guess I'm able to separate like what I think is going to happen from my own expectations for what's going to happen. Like my current expectation for the next Mass Effect is it's just going to get canceled and not made. Like that's where my that's
Yeah.
where I'm at. So I don't get crushed, right? Like if you have any other
No, that's
expectations than
good.
that, you are
Yeah.
gonna get crushed if this thing like blows up, right? And I don't know whether that's just because like I've been burned by a lot of fandoms, just like me just really like when I was in my teens, just really rooting for something to happen, and then it doesn't, and then it lets you down, and all that stuff. So my actual expectations are this thing isn't getting made, but for me, just, thinking about it, I would be over the moon overjoyed if Shepard comes back along with the, old Normandy crew. But if they present to me, a new protagonist and the development is not hindered by EA and stuff like that, I'd be here for that. I would play the hell out of that, So it's just that my theories are revolving around what I think is going to happen, not necessarily my expectations of what's going to be in the game. I don't know if that made any sense, but it makes sense in my head.
No, that made perfect sense because I feel the exact same way because obviously I have a preference on, which way I think the next game should go, at least in my head, and what would scratch my Mass Effect itch. But like either way, whichever direction they're going, I'm still gonna like love I'm just gonna love if we have a game. Like just make a
Right?
game.
God.
Yeah.
And
I
like no matter what they do, as long as it's done well, it's gonna be a win for all of us. So
I guess I also have a counter question after that for you both. Is there
okay.
any scenario or like storyline where you would not play the game, even if it's Mass Effect?
Mass Effect Deception, the game.
Oh,
Oh my
my god.
The worst novel ever written about an existing IP ever.
No, in the history, it is the
It's
Yeah.
probably
worst book
true.
I have ever
Yeah.
read in my life. Like it
It was so
genuinely
bad.
is.
Yeah, I would not play Mass Effect Deception, the game. That's when I would stop.
Yep. You'd put the
Other than that,
controller
we're
down.
good. I would even be happy if we got Andromeda 2, which I know just probably made a lot of people mad, but I
That's
would
funny
eat.
because I
Oh,
was
just
about to
be
say
yeah, be
I
ready.
think I would be less inclined to play it if it was Ryder. I would play it, but I wouldn't my expectations, I think I would go in not being excited.
I feel that.
I don't dislike
Oh, I
Ryder,
would.
but I also don't like Ryder. Like I think Ryder is fine, but I'm getting old, okay? I need a protagonist that is like, hey, let's get some shit done instead of kind of having that like younger attitude that Ryder had. I don't want it. I don't want it, and I don't think that's what Mass Effect should be, is that kind of young tone. And people get mad at me when I say that, but I mean, it's just that's how I feel.
Would you
Oh, if
play a mid-30s Ryder?
yep.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but like
I think you just
Look,
don't
and,
like
I need
Ryder.
to feel I need to feel that mid-30s, okay? I want to see someone who is like, "Hey, everything is fucked up. I think I'm just going to go walk off this cliff here, you know. I'll get it done, but I'm not going to be happy about it." Like I want it like Ryder was so upbeat and like lost and was not a good leadership character.
oh,
And I totally understand that Ryder didn't get 3 games to expand their character. I 100% know that. But Shepard still had that grounded matureness in Mass Effect 1. And granted, it did get better throughout the entire series. I still feel like Ryder I'm sorry, but Ryder just annoyed the fuck out of me. Ryder just
oh,
I'm
I
so
need
sorry.
I need to hear
breaks in
Fight's
my heart.
response. I need to hear Fight's
I'm so
response.
sorry.
Oh, I don't think you guys know who you're talking to here. This
I
is
know you love I know.
I'm a knight for Mass Effect Andromeda. Even though Andromeda 2 is certainly not my first choice for what the next Mass Effect game should be, I would be so hyped. I would be singing its praises. I would be super pumped, even though that would probably certainly mean that BioWare gets shut down if they ever release that game next.
Can you imagine if they just went out in like a blaze of glory with Andromeda 2?
Oh, I'd be so excited.
I'm sorry, but that would be my nightmare. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like,
It is.
listen,
It's
I am an
literally your
Andromeda
nightmare.
defender too. Like, I will defend Andromeda. I think it's a good game, but I do think it's not a good Mass Effect game. When I think of Mass
I
Effect,
don't
I think of
see.
like grit. I think of darkness, complexity. I think of like it's a very mature adult story. At least it should be. It should be. And you know, in when I played the original trilogy, like I said, I play Renegade. I want to be a fucking piece of shit. I want to be an asshole. I want to feel like I can believe it. The idea of
Right.
Ryder pushing someone out a window is like comical to me. Like there's no way that I could take that seriously. So I just don't want to see that again. I want to see something serious, and I want to see something where it feels like our character not only is not trying to be a replica of Shepard, because they're never going to be able to do that again. I want to feel like our next protagonist, if it is a new one, is like this new character that feels like it was for fans of the original trilogy who have aged since then. You know, I mean, people who play the original trilogy, it's been what? 2007 is when the first one came out. So it's
Yeah.
been a very long time since those fans have grown up. They've aged. They're older. So I hope that they feel like they can move this series more into a mature tone. Like I want to see darkness and grit and really all the things that Andromeda didn't have.
I agree. I
Yeah, it's interesting that you had said that you think it was a good game but not a good Mass Effect game, because I feel like I'm almost flipped on that. I feel like it wasn't a good game in terms of the story, but I was here for the Mass Effect lore. Like, I guess my feelings around Andromeda is just so complicated because I don't think I have a major problem with Ryder just as a person. But I think the story that Ryder was put into didn't fit who they were. You know, like they just randomly got Sam after the, I guess, spoilers for Mass Effect Andromeda if you just mute for a second. You know, after Alec dies, and then, you know, Ryder just kind of gets Sam. And then they just kind of like if you think about the plot, it's just they have to put down, like they basically have to colonize the Andromeda, and they're running away from the Archon. Like that to me is Andromeda. And again, I only played it once, but I feel like the story let Ryder down, but I would be here for Ryder in a different setting, even if like they have like somewhat of a similar personality. But yeah, it's interesting. We all have completely like complete opposite sides of the spectrum there on Andromeda.
I think that's Ryder in the 2023 poster. I'm
Oh, do we want to get into that? Hang on, let me
Oh,
pull up.
do you?
Okay, so the Geth poster.
No, the
N7
new
agent.
N7. Listen,
Wait, do you
I'm
think the
sorry.
N7 is Ryder?
No. The character with the Andromeda shaped helmet that's standing by.
Oh yeah. No, join the
that
club.
was
I'm here for that.
2022, right? I think that was
Uh,
wasn't that 2022?
no, wait. Was it the
The Mass Effect will continue poster.
Mass Effect will
The
continue.
one.
No.
The one with like
Yeah, it's the
the
Mass Effect will
With
continue.
the
Like
Geth and
the-
clothes.
yeah, the bar scene.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
2023. Yeah, let me pull it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was thinking of the different. See, I think the one in the Mass Effect will continue poster does have the shape of an Andromeda helmet
Yeah,
from the top down. I don't think Ryder is in the other one.
I think Ryder's in both, but you know me, I'm the unhinged one over
I'm
here.
gonna ram my face into my monitor right now.
It's in the bar scene one in the 2023 poster, I think it's Ryder and Jaw. I really do.
Oh, let's go. That is my type of hopium. Okay, I'm here for
Ugh.
that theory too, though.
I am
I
so
think it's Ryder and
delusional.
Jal.
I am so delusional.
No, I'm here for that. It's Ryder, it's Jal, it's Liara, and then there's a Geth in clothes.
I think it's Liara for sure. That's probably the most
I'm
likely.
sorry. I hate that.
But that's not
I'm
Garrus,
so
though.
sorry. I really
just want it to be Garrus.
Ryder annoys me. Ryder is like, okay, I've talked about this before, but during the council meetings for Dragon Age Veilguard, it's already out there. They were going to go with like a more Marvel tone, which they like shifted and changed. And part of the reason of that change is because the community council hated. I hated Rook. We hated Rook, and in so many meetings, I would call Rook Ryder on accident because I hated them. And I was like, this is literally Ryder 2.0. Like, and I was like, and I said, like, I was like, you got, like, this has got to change. People are not, no. I was like, there's no way. There's no way.
I liked Rook.
Okay, the Rook that we got now is totally different from the Rook that used to be, though. That's the thing.
Oh,
Is like,
okay,
I'm
fair,
talking
fair.
about when we saw Rook a while ago, and all of us, not a single one of us, were like, we like this Rook. We were all like, hey, we all collectively don't like this Rook. Rook was like very, Rook was like Ryder. Like, there wasn't a lot of seriousness. There wasn't a lot of like, I don't know, mature tone. And oh god, I hated Rook. I like Rook now, but I hated the fucking original version. And Katie has talked about this, like we've all kind of talked about this. It's like not a huge secret or anything. But I hated the Rook that we were going to get and how much they were literally just Ryder 2.0. And I think if they did Ryder again, I think they'd have to change their personality like drastically. Like, I could see a grown-up Ryder being in the game, maybe. Like a grown-up Ryder, fine. But they better have seen some shit, okay, that makes them like an adult.
I think
Like,
the key,
they need to grow up.
the key, right, is that I think it's something specific to the sci-fi genre. Like, sci-fi is generally gritty, and like, I think that it's strange to see a personality like Ryder's in a gritty sci-fi, which people have associated. Like, if you have 3 games of the trilogy, which were the first 3 games in the series, you're going to assume that kind of tone is continued, right? But I could see why the Dragon Age team would take a kind of more like less mature tone, just because I feel like fantasy, like, you can kind of get away with that. But I do think it doesn't serve Ryder well in Mass Effect specifically. Also, I have somebody in the chat saying that Kala hates kids.
That's why I said fuck them kids.
This just makes me so happy. Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't have a problem with Rook, but I think I didn't have a problem because it was in Dragon Age, and because like Dragon Age kind of has that, like willing to laugh at itself, and just kind of somewhat goofy. Like, it's way more goofy than Mass Effect is, right? Like, I feel like the only goofy part in Mass Effect was the Citadel DLC, which was obviously like that was the end of the trilogy, and it was just, let's throw a party because we can. So yeah, I feel like like, does that somewhat ring true? The fact that sci-fis in general have just more gritty.
That I totally agree, because sci-fi is like at really the core of like a lot of sci-fi. It's supposed to be, I mean, this is not every sci-fi. This is like a very generalized, what I'm about to say is like, but sci-fi is usually like some sort of aspect of the exploration of humanity and the human experience.
Yeah.
And when I think about all of the sci-fi stories that I love, it's because I'm seeing an adult who has enough life experience to understand the gravity of what they're experiencing, to be old enough to have the reactivity that I would expect from someone who can really hold the weight of the stories. And when I look at Ryder, it's just someone who's very immature. I don't think they're like very emotionally intelligent. I don't think that they have the weight to like handle the stress and, you know, what it's like to lead a team. So when I think about what I want for the next Mass Effect, I'm like, hey, and this is the same for Exodus, this is the same for The Expanse. I want to see someone that feels believable in these positions of
Yeah.
like, you know, of how fucked the world has become, of how much responsibility they have, the lives of their crew that they're having to um be in charge of. So yeah, I mean they could maybe do that with an Andromeda too, but I still don't think that's what the next game is going to be.
Yeah. I totally get what you feel though. Like for me, it wasn't believable to have Ryder in charge. It was like Cora should have been in charge, or I don't know, done, like just someone with authority. And I think going from someone with so much authority with Shepard to Ryder
It was
was
jarring, yeah.
really jarring. Like that was the thing. But also, I feel like Fight has gone a little bit quiet here. I feel like he's crying in the corner because we're just destroying Ryder.
Oh,
I'm so
I'm
sorry, Fight.
broken. I'm
I'm
broken.
so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Well, we're getting the Ryder twins back in the Expanse, so get ready.
That is
Wait,
true.
really?
For those who aren't following The Expanse, you are making a twin
Oh
who
yeah.
when you start off the game, you make a twin, but they're the same gender as you, unlike the Ryder twins, which are opposite. Your twin in The Expanse is going to look exactly like you.
And if I can
Whoa.
name my twin, I'm naming them Ryder.
Oh, that's cute.
That's so sweet.
I
So
will not be doing that.
Same.
Sorry.
Same.
I will not be doing that.
your twin's name will be Shepard.
Oh, no, I'll be sad thinking.
Oh
I have
no.
a bunch of characters that are named after Shepard. Like I play Final Fantasy 14 and one of my alt characters is named Inquisitor Shepard.
Oh, let's go.
But I always get so sad thinking about Shepard. I'm like, oh man. And one of my like retainers, which is like a character that holds all your shit. I made them this big beefy Rogadin. I don't think anybody in this chat plays Final
I
Fantasy
do.
14,
I do.
but
I know what you're
oh, you
talking
do.
about. I know what
Oh,
you're talking
okay.
about.
Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
go for it.
Yeah, so and she's like, the Rogadin are huge
Yeah.
and she's got short red hair and I put her
Oh,
in like
let's
this
go.
black leather suit. So I get to experience Shepard in my games and then like I play Overwatch and my Overwatch name is Lavellin and dude,
Okay,
my characters are in everything. So I'll probably do that with the Expanse too.
so what you're saying, because I always find it so fascinating because you love Shepard, right? But you wouldn't want them to be in the next game
I love the
because
Shepard
they
that
might hurt it.
was.
Right, yeah.
I love the Shepard that was, but I just, you know, my feelings towards BioWare at this point are very negative. Um, and seeing them have so many fumbles, it does not inspire confidence. And I say that I still really like Veilguard, which I know is a very controversial opinion. I still again, Act 3 absolutely amazing, but I still like the main story and all that stuff, but even still I think Rook had issues. I don't like Ryder. Um
Ryder.
yeah, so I
No,
don't
wait, Rook, right?
trust them.
Were
What's that?
were you talking about the Veilguard and called Rook Ryder again?
No, I don't like Ryder. I
Oh,
like Rook. Rook is fine. Um, but yeah, I don't have a lot of faith that they can capture that magic in a bottle again, and I don't want to get my hopes up that they could.
Yeah,
I
no,
really
for
want
sure.
to see Mary make her own character and her own cast of characters. I think that would be really well done by her.
Yeah, no, for sure. I
Yeah,
think we
that's
all
how I
just
feel
want to see
too.
Mary cook.
I just want to see Mass Effect. That's just all I want.
Yeah, no, for sure. I guess to segue off of that, do we want to talk a couple theories? We've kind of been talking about a few theories already, or do we want to jump into the TV show?
Why don't we talk about the TV show?
Okay.
Since we just got news about it the other day.
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Uh,
Cal, I
how
feel
are
like
you
you
both
know.
feeling about the TV show right now?
Fight, you go ahead.
The way I feel about the TV show hinders pretty much on if they follow the story of the trilogy or not. If they do the trilogy story, I think I'm all the way out on the TV show, but if they do like their own little concentrated new unique story, I think I'll feel pretty excited about it.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of ways that they can screw up the TV show. And I think, yeah, Kala had said there's just game adaptations don't do so hot besides for like
Mhm.
Fallout and season 1 of The Last of Us. So I think it depends on what they want to go for, right? Like if this is
Mhm.
going to launch, let's just hypothetically be like, okay, the next Mass Effect is for sure going to happen and they want to launch the TV show before then what type of show would they want to pull off before that game launches, right? Would they want to go the Shepard route? Like, I guess
Oh,
I guess here's a question for you guys. Here's a question.
I will actually jump off a cliff.
yeah, me too. I don't think
I'm
I'd watch it.
so
I'd be
serious. Like, I would fucking hate if they made I think and I actually think it would be disrespectful. I know that's like a step like further than a lot of people are going to agree with, but I think it would be disrespectful at this point to bring back Shepard, have them not be played by Mark or Jennifer,
Hmm.
and also to have them have this like, the face of an actor that whoever. And if I hear Henry Cavill, I'm going to gouge out my eyeballs.
do you want to hear my
Um,
nightmare theory for
Yes,
the
God,
TV
I'm
go
show?
for
scared.
it. Go for it.
Is that they're going to do the Shepard trilogy to canonize all the choices so they don't
Stop
have to
it.
mess with anything in Mass Effect
Oh my
5.
God.
Oh no, that would like set
Fuck
the fan
off.
base on fire.
It would. Yeah,
Oh,
it
No,
would.
I don't think they'd ever do that. I
that's my
really don't
nightmare.
think they'd ever do that. From what I can tell, right? Like Gamble is working on the TV show. From every tweet he's kind of put out, it generally seems to be like pro player choice. From what I can tell, it's very much like, the whole we like multiple endings and like with regards to the one Paragon Renegade thing, I think he had replied to you, Kala, or no, that wasn't the one. He had said something along the lines of the whole reason that Paragon, like even though the majority of players chose Paragon, it didn't make Renegade any less like worthy of being there or something like that.
Yeah, they
That's
basically
major
said that it was
paraphrasing.
important that both exist.
Yeah, like it's just not just like you can't just ignore one because people aren't choosing it type of thing. So I feel like because Gamble's working on it, that wouldn't happen. I'm hoping. Yeah, I guess thoughts on the TV show. Just kind of
We've
getting
seen people from very like Neil Druckmann is part of the Last of Us show. And I'm sorry, but the second season was not good.
yeah.
Like I genuinely think like I don't think it's like super terrible, but I don't think that they kept the heart of the show, and I think that they really sanitized the story for the sake of TV. Like I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with season 2. I think it's not very good. So we've already seen. I guess what I'm trying to say is Gamble being attached to it gives me like a 1% increase in hope, but like my expectations are super fucking low still.
I feel
Right.
pretty good about it because it's Amazon doing it. And because I like the Fallout show a lot, and that was their most recent, attempt at a video game adaptation. I thought that was pretty good, and I know it's the same kind of production people. doing the Mass Effect show, so that makes me feel all right about it, and especially in the sense that Fallout is in the design of same universe but completely different and unique story, which is what I would want from this. So I think in a sense that makes me feel just a little comfortable about it, but whether or not that actually happens, who knows?
Yeah. I think my expectations for the show are already very low just because
Yeah.
of the people that were announced for it and stuff. But I do have hope though
Yeah.
with the showrunner, with Doug Jung. But
Yeah,
just
I
because
think
of
he's the
Mindhunter.
only.
Like just because of Mindhunter. Daniel
Yeah, I think
Casey,
that Ari Arad though, like that dude's resume, ooh, it's
yeah.
not good. It is
Yeah.
not good. He has fucked up so many video game adaptations. Um,
That's the Borderlands guy, right?
Borderlands and Uncharted, I think.
Mm.
yeah, so he did
Tom Holland is Shepard.
I would
Tom Holland
oh
as
my God,
Shepard?
shut up.
Dude, like that is literally you have birthed a new nightmare for Kella.
Literally.
Like
But
literally.
they would do something like that. Like I don't trust
Oh man, I hope not.
I don't trust this.
Oh
Like
my
So
god, what if
if
they
yeah,
do a
so
young Shepard? Oh no, I would hate that.
no.
ooh,
Hate.
No.
I'm looking at his resume right now and it's Borderlands, Uncharted, Ghost in the Shell, Ghost Rider, these are not good. These are bad.
Yeah.
Mm.
I
And
think
I don't want to see Henry Cavill either. Because why can we not get a fem shep? Why
because he's the
do
yeah,
we
no,
get a pro
true.
shep? They're
But what
like
if it's
already
just
there. It's dividing people.
what if it's Henry Cavill just as a new character though? Just set in the Mass Effect universe. Like that I would be here
Eh,
for. Is he
eh,
just too The Witcher for you or
I
They
don't
need to
really like
just
him.
stay. They need to
Oh,
stay
okay.
away. They need to just stay away from the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Just
No, I agree.
stay
I
away.
think
I'm also of the opinion that we don't need to have a celebrity. Like I am down for new people, new faces, new actors. Like it doesn't I think we're at a really weird time when it feels like every major video game, it's like majority on-screen actors versus actual voice actors anymore. Like why the fuck is Chris Pratt in everything? I hate that man. Why?
yeah.
Like I'm
I don't know why.
so I hate it. And I mean, I know he was in the Mario movie, but I just I feel like we're seeing less and less actual voice actors and it's like they're slowly being replaced by real actors. Um and I don't hate Henry Cavill. I just don't I think he is too iconic to be in something like this.
I have
I would really just like to see someone new, I guess. I don't know. But I do hate Chris Pratt. I fucking hate him.
I have a new nightmare for you, Kala. So Henry Cavill as Shepard was the first one. But what about John Cena as Shepard? Someone in the chat said.
Ooh,
I'm leading
you
the chat.
you have to pick between Tom
String is over.
Holland, John Cena, and Henry Cavill as Shepard.
Oh my god. That
No.
can you
I refuse.
imagine? Can you imagine if they just put that to the fan base and they were like,
Just
"Hey
can it.
guys,
Just can it.
choose one of these."
I think I'd rather have
Yeah,
like a
no, can
CG,
it.
fully CGI as Shepard with Mark Mir or
That's what we
Jennifer Hale.
want. I feel like that's what we all really want, and we all know it's going to be live action, and then it's going to flop, and then we're going to be like, "Great!" Like, just like put it on the pile of all the other adaptations and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess I had a question about okay, so Daniel Casey, who is the oh man,
He's one of the
where
screenplay
is it?
writers.
Screenplay, right? Yeah, okay. So he
Yeah.
was reading Revelation. He provided an update on Instagram, I think. So he was
Yeah,
reading.
he did post that back in that is a couple months old.
Yeah.
So just so people are aware, like that isn't actually new. It's just no one really noticed
Covered
it when
it.
it was posted.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it
So
is old.
yeah, so he was reading Mass Effect Revelation, and he I don't have it in front of me, but the text he added was
Dog-eared.
dog-eared, yeah.
So he was putting
So
a marker
he was
for him to
putting
come
a
back to.
yeah. So do you guys read into like do you take anything out of, the screenwriter trying to engage with the material on that level? Or do you think like the fact that he said dog-eared, do you think that it's something more? Like it could we see like the story in Revelation where it follows Anderson going after Saren in the show? Because if they're trying to build hype with the show for the next Mass Effect and Shepard does return, like could you kind of see people watching the show, picking up the Legendary Edition, and then playing the next Mass Effect? Like, do you think that's the pipeline they're trying to create?
That's interesting.
Oh,
Go
it's
ahead, Kyle.
Dusty
Sorry.
Everman who was moved off of Mass Effect. I'm looking at your stream. It was Dusty Everman. He worked on the Normandy and the entire crew.
Oh,
and he has
yes.
been moved to Motive, I think.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, and he was the last original writer. So,
Okay.
yeah. Which sucks.
Yeah.
I think that's probably, though, to answer your question, I think that's probably one of the more exciting possibilities for the show is like having it maybe be a retelling of Revelation or an adaptation of it or something. It's something prequel based in general. I think would be a pretty safe choice too.
I feel like it would
but-
be it would be fun to have a prequel more than something completely new. That's just my thoughts on it, though.
Yeah, I can get down with that. Yeah, that'd be super fun. And I think the writer, going in that hardcore into the Mass Effect world and reading one of the novels, I think that's a pretty good sign. It's clearly pretty invested in wanting to learn as much as they can about this world because most Mass Effect fans that just played the games haven't even read the book. So it's seeing that the screenwriter wants to invest like that. That's a pretty reassuring sign to me.
I think that for me, I hate where the Fast and Furious movies went. So I'm not a fan of the things on Daniel Casey's resume either. Honestly, there's no one that really gives me much hope that is on the show so far. All the names that have been released, I just find pretty mediocre. I do like Mindhunter, and I know that there was like another show that people like of the Doug Jung guy that was just added, but Daniel Casey reading that both does absolutely nothing for me because my expectations are in the ground.
Fair.
But I also think like if you're going to do a show about a world that already exists that people have been invested in for years and years and years, the very least you could do is read the media and play the games. And we know he's played the games. Like he did an interview in December where he talked about it. But okay, Tokyo Drift, yes. And I was a street racer when I was younger. Okay, I was very into it when I lived in Arizona, which is such a stupid thing to say. But I was obsessed with the Fast and Furious shows or movies until they became like these cheesy action. Oh, look, explosions and The Rock. I fucking hated it. And John Cena, right? I think John Cena maybe is in Fast and Furious now.
I don't know. I stopped watching it after some point. Like I watched like the first 3.
They're not good anymore. They're not good.
At least maybe we'll get some sweet Mako scenes.
Oh my
Philippe
god.
says Shepard in a tank top and says family to sovereign. Oh my god, my worst nightmare. I can see it.
Oh,
and it's bad, but I can see it.
I feel like I just if for the TV show, if it's anything above deception, I would be clapping, like giving it a standing ovation. It's just like that's where my expectation is at. Like deception is where my expectation is at for the TV show right now. So if it's above that, then I'm good.
Such a low bar.
It's a really really low bar.
It is, yeah.
But
did you guys want to jump into, because I'm just glancing at the clock here, we have about like 30 minutes left. Do you guys want to jump into the Expanse and just talk about that a
Yes, I
little
do.
bit. Because I feel
Yes,
like
because the Expanse looks amazing.
yeah. Oh, but before we do, okay, wait. I always have a note here, Kala, to always be like, do you have a crazy fact to share with everybody? Because I feel like it's
Oh
become a
God.
thing. Just
Oh, I
rack
should have
rack your
thought. I
brain
should have thought of one before.
while we jump into the Expanse.
Did you
Pull it
guys
up here.
know that Superman is canon to the Mass Effect world?
Wait, what?
Yeah, you
I
didn't
did
know that.
not.
Yeah,
How?
it's like a series of Easter eggs, but basically like there's a planet and there's like kryptonite, um, and his planet exploded, and the ship that he was on matches the ship of like the first comic or something like that.
Wait, what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If
Where
you
do
look
we find
up,
this?
well, I mean, I'm sure you can probably just look up Superman and Mass Effect. Let me see. Hold on.
Also, I don't know why
I've
I
never
can't
heard of this
pull up.
before.
I have never heard of this in my life. Like nobody in the comments or anything. Did you guys know that Spider-Man is canon?
No, Superman.
Oh,
Superman.
sorry. Yeah, Superman is canon to the Mass Effect universe.
Yeah.
Never heard of that.
So Superman, there's a garden world circling the red supergiant SM 2183, which is, I believe that's the first Superman comic.
Okay.
Um, and hold on, I'm looking here.
This is
Yeah, I didn't
wild.
That's
think.
crazy.
Yeah, it's just like an Easter egg, but basically he's Superman, and he's like taken to the Citadel or something after his planet is blown up,
What?
and he's the only survivor. Um, yeah, there's a whole like tiny little plot line. I believe it was in one of the Mass Effect news. Those like
Oh
little
yeah.
news clips. Yeah, I think that's where it is. Yeah.
That's epic. Now I'm gonna have to go down a huge rabbit hole and figure out where that's at.
You learn something new every time we stream.
Every single time. Callan never lets us down, guys. If you didn't
Next time I'll
know,
have to be more ready and like
I'll
have
I'll I'll
something
prep you.
better.
It's okay. Before we go live, I'll be like,
Yeah, remind me.
yeah. I literally have a note. Like I call it Calla's crazy fact.
Well, now you have a new one to add. This one
Yes.
isn't like super crazy, but yeah, it's
It's
supposed to be
crazy.
Superman.
No,
It
man,
like
that's nuts.
references kryptonite, his home planet, and the comic and all that.
That's awesome.
Stuff.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. That is
You're welcome.
that is epic. Okay, let's jump into the Expanse here.
Ooh.
I feel like maybe I want to get your guys' opinion on it because you guys have
Oh, wait,
watched the
hold on, let
show.
me- Before we continue really quick, I want to say that Jay Charlemagne, he's in chat right now and he knew that, and that's because Jay was the previous community manager for BioWare
Oh,
and
let's
Mass Effect and Dragon Age.
go.
So of course he knew
Legend.
that.
Let's
Legend.
go, Jay.
Also, hi Jay.
Hi, Jay.
And
Hope you're doing good.
Johnny says that he also knew that too. See, some people knew. I didn't just make
Yup.
it up. It's
They're
real.
lying.
It's a real Kala, you could tell me any crazy facts and I would just like be gullible. I would Ryder it. I would just
Oh my
gullibly
God.
believe it.
I would never lie to you. It's true.
Okay. Yeah. 100%. We never lie on the internet.
Yeah, where
love
was
that.
Superman during the Reaper invasion?
Yeah, where was like
True.
maybe he tried to punch one and then like he got red beams into the abyss. Like maybe Superman died in the Reaper War. Who knows?
The Reapers were like, "Hey, grab that kryptonite just in case."
Oh yeah. Can you imagine
were
a Reaper
prepared.
just grabbing one and just chucking it at Superman?
The
Actually, I think
Reapers
he's a
destroyed Krypton.
baby. I think the timeline of the like planet exploding, and I would have to pull up the wiki or something. But I think it happens around the events of Mass Effect 2 or 3 or something like that.
That's crazy. You know what? I want Superman as a companion in the next Mass Effect. If the timeline
my God.
allows, I would just
No,
that would be
he's
the
too much of a goody
funniest.
two shoes.
And
I
you
find
know
him
who played
boring.
Superman? You know who played Superman?
Oh no.
God, you're not wrong.
Kala, time is a full circle, guys.
Oh my gosh, no, thank you. No, but okay, let's talk about the Expanse because this game looks absolutely insane.
Yes.
And it came out of nowhere.
Nowhere.
I feel like it's
Absolutely
so
insane.
rare. Yeah, it's like rare these days that games are announced and it's not leaked or like teased or known about. But this has been in development since 2021.
That's awesome.
Wait, sorry,
That means
which?
it's probably due to come out
The
soon then.
Expanse.
Yeah. So I was looking into it because I was like, if it says it's wish listable, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
that means it. Do you think it's more on the side of 6 months away? Because it's usually 6 to 12 months before it comes out, right?
On
And
their
do you think we're gonna
website
get
and
it?
even in the trailer, it says coming soon.
Could we get it
Mm.
like by the end of summer, or do you think more before
No,
October?
maybe within the year.
Yeah, I think the pre-orders already being live means it's relatively soon. I mean, I assume this isn't Star Citizen where they're just
Well, to be fair, they're not technically pre-orders. They're calling it like a founders. Like you get in early to be a founder of the program, so it's not actually a pre-order on the website. So,
Mm.
which is why I've heard that usually Alcat, when they announce a game, the release date isn't too far off, which is why I'm expecting it within like the next year.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
super realistic.
Yeah. Especially because, like, I guess when Exodus kind of released their founder program, I was kind of like, okay, could we get before the end of 2025? But then I think they're trying to skirt around GTA, right? So,
Yeah.
so who knows when that's coming out? But yeah, the fact that they said coming soon for the Expanse makes me think definitely
That it's coming
2025.
soon.
Yeah, like soon means before the end of the year, I assume.
If we
Here, I'll
got
make
this
smaller so
before
people.
if we got this before Exodus, that would be crazy.
I think we will,
I think
though.
we could.
I think
You
Exodus
know,
will be March next year. Or what did that one thing say, Kala? There was a
it just said 2026.
okay.
It hasn't been confirmed. And honestly, man, Exodus is so weird.
It
I
is.
don't know what I
Is
don't
it
know
is
what
it
they're
done?
doing.
Like, is it?
Well, Exodus was supposed to release this year. There
Yeah.
was a rumor, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a leak, but there was someone said, an insider said on Reset Era that Exodus was going to release this year. But because of Grand Theft Auto, obviously it has been moved to next year and then they confirmed that date, but I don't know what that actually like I feel like they keep Did I just get an ad on my stream? What the hell?
The heck?
I turn
Kala,
those off. I'm
turn
so
it off.
sorry. But yeah, so I don't know what to expect from Exodus because I feel like they keep releasing stuff like they have the Traveler's Handbook, the episode in um
The secret
Secret
level?
Level. Yeah, then they have they're getting ready to release the encyclopedia. They have the Archimedes engine. Like they have all this expanded stuff. They did the tabletop RPG like, series on um uh like YouTube, and I don't understand because we don't know when the game is coming out.
Yeah.
So all of this isn't marketing for the game, but like they're releasing all of this stuff. I don't know.
It's weird.
It's so weird.
I don't think that's like on them though, because I think they thought it would release in 2025. And I think that would track with all of the stuff they were
Yeah, but they're still
doing.
releasing stuff even after that confirmation of 2026.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
They're
I
still
haven't been
doing
too on
stuff.
top of
Yeah,
besides for
and
the
like
YouTube thing.
yeah, and like on James Olin's Twitter, he's been revealing pages of the Exodus Encyclopedia,
Oh, okay.
and he's already posted like almost 45 pages of a 300 book.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, can you
Uh,
stop? Like, I want to see the book when
yeah,
it comes out. I don't want to see it all on Twitter.
I love that. Also,
Like,
I have
chill.
Fang in the chat is asking, was the ad an underwear brand? Remember last time?
Oh, I don't remember.
Remember when we were streaming, you randomly had like a briefs ad appear on your channel.
Nice.
Why couldn't they give me a video game ad? That makes no sense.
I don't know. It was the funniest thing though. Anyway, sorry to detract, but Exodus has been definitely very confusing in terms of the when is it coming out. And I don't remember when we had chatted before, but when we had brought up how Exodus's thing was getting somewhat like delayed and stuff, I remember somebody in the chat had said that the next Mass Effect's marketing has also been super weird, where it's like they released that one trailer in 2020 and then just absolutely nothing
But I think that's
since
normal,
then.
though. Those trailers, like we've seen,
The proof of life one,
and
yeah.
I think people need to get used to that. Like people need to get used to having a trailer for a game that is not coming out for several years because these studios, they need to build momentum, they need
Yeah.
to attract devs, they need to keep investors, happy. It sucks, but like I think that that's the reality of, and it's true. Mark Dara said that the reason that that trailer exists was to because because BioWare needed to show EA that people were still invested in their games. That's
Yeah.
why that trailer exists.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it makes sense. It sucks. It's annoying because it's been 4.5 years since that trailer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the game was still in pre-production at the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
I still think partly too that trailer is still marketing for Legendary Edition because that trailer came out a month after they announced Legendary
Oh
Edition.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
So it's all probably tied in together.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. Okay, some stuff on the Expanse. So I wanted to ask you guys, and I'm struggling to pull up the trailer here on my thing, so I'm just randomly playing the Mass Effect trailer. But
I've got the trailer on mine if people
okay.
can
Yeah,
see
if you
mine.
if you have both of our streams over, go watch Cause while I try to troubleshoot this. You both have watched The Expanse. So I wanted to just
Yes.
get a
Yes.
reaction from you guys when you were watching it. Did you know that you were watching an Expanse trailer at any point, or
The
Yes.
second I saw the ship,
The
I
ship
knew.
is very, yeah.
okay?
And then the boss mang on the cup, and then the boots with
Mhm.
the little tap. Yeah, I think it looks exactly like you would expect the Expanse to look.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, because I did not know what the heck I was watching. Like, because obviously I had only watched the first 5 episodes, and like that was like years ago. So I didn't know what it was until it like popped up. But I assume like I guess from your guys' experience then, seeing the trailer, because I wasn't sure whether we were like that's not going to be a cutscene of any kind, right? That was just only made for the trailer. Does anyone
I'm
know?
I
not
mean,
sure.
that we don't really know. This could
Okay.
just be a trailer, but they did say that and these are companions. Like this
Yeah.
is the protagonist and the two companions. These two guys have been confirmed to be companions.
Okay. Okay.
But they did say the game has a lot of cinematics.
Okay.
So this could be one. I do think it's more of like a trailer thing, but I mean, we don't really know.
Yeah.
I assume
So
it's more of a trailer though.
okay. So I guess off of that then, like when you guys saw it, what is your guys' expectation for it being like do you guys want it to be very very similar to the show? Obviously it's going to be set in the same universe and a few of the actors are going to be in it as well, right? Like from the show. I guess what is your guys' expectation as people who have just watched the show like and are huge fans of it for the game?
I think it should definitely at least keep the same tone as the show because The Expanse, and especially in the television show, is a really dark and gritty, mature universe. And so I think it should be consistent with that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think that they've kind of already spoken about how they want it to be true to that. So that is what I expect. And the Expanse world is I wish it was a bit darker, but it's still pretty gritty. Like it's still got, like it's not about humans versus aliens like kind of Mass Effect, but it's more about humans versus humans and humans fucking suck. So, yeah, it still has that like darkness and you know, um everything that you would kind of expect from a sci-fi setting is what the Expanse has. I really love the show, so I'm super excited for the game. I just bought the books too.
Oh,
Um,
that's awesome.
but yeah,
Hmm.
I think it looks really good.
Yeah, and it's a universe, like it's really unique in the sci-fi realm in the sense that it really pushes how much space sucks. Like
Yeah.
the space is just a complete horror story in the Expanse
Yeah.
universe.
I feel like
And
sorry, finish the thought.
no, no, you're good. You're good.
No, I was gonna say like something that really I was super confused after watching the trailer because when I had first seen it, I was watching Summer Game Fest and I just for some reason I completely missed the reveal. So I only caught it after Kala had covered it, just on Twitter. So I
It was
had
on Future Game Show.
oh okay, that's why I missed it. Okay,
Yeah, it
yeah.
wasn't at Summer Game Fest.
So I had absolutely no clue what it was going in. I just saw that you were excited, so I was like, okay, Kala's excited. Then go check out whatever the heck this thing is. And what I had heard going in was that like the dev team was inspired by Mass Effect and it was going to involve like romance and the two companions as allies and stuff like that. Um but when I was watching the trailer, I was not really getting Mass Effect vibes. Like I was very confused when I was watching it. Um and I guess like I had absolutely or I guess very little experience with the show. So it just felt like another thing that was happening. And I feel like maybe only fans of the show that knew like what was happening, like you guys, where you saw the ship and you were like, oh man, I know what's happening here. I know this is the Expanse. Like I feel like you guys got so super hype. And I feel like I want to get hype, but it almost feels like I need to like get into the like watch the show and read the books and stuff like that in order to fully get there, especially because like the Expanse is harder sci-fi. And Mass Effect, like you said, fight, like space is viewed as almost like an enemy in the Expanse
Hmm.
universe. But in Mass Effect, it just exists. It's something that the Normandy flies through or what have you, right? So
Exactly.
I guess yeah, like what would you guys suggest, I guess, as huge fans of the series and the IP, in terms of someone like me that just knows absolutely nothing? Like, do we start with the show? Do we start with the books? Like, what do you think we need to know going in, knowing that some of the actors from the show are going to be in it and stuff?
Well,
So
the books are the original base content for the Expanse universe, but then I think this game is going to connect a lot more to like the TV show's adaptation of it.
Okay.
So I think if there's a starting point for people getting into the Expanse universe for the first time, it might be safest to start with the show first, and then if you're wanting to just play the game.
so here's what I would recommend because they've actually already revealed when the game takes place.
Okay.
So it takes place between it starts at season 1 and goes through the second season halfway.
Okay.
So the first 2 seasons and the first half of the third season, and then it covers the first 2 books. So if you want to get familiar with the world, if you want to, you know, learn more about the Expanse, then at least watch the first 2.5 seasons. Maybe read the books if you want to, but they've also said that they want the game to be very introductory friendly so that um people who haven't played the games can come in and enjoy it too without having all this extensive knowledge about the game. So they're going to have uh like a glossary and like systems that will tell you about events and terminology and stuff like that as well, because I mean it's a pretty fleshed out world, and that's something that I'm really excited for. I wrote a um like Mass Effect Mass Effect top 10 mysteries.
Mm,
And through that, I realized that aside from the main story mysteries, there's really not a lot of stuff that you would expect in a game that takes place in space.
yeah.
I feel like it's missing a lot of that mystery where the Expanse, and I mean, even Exodus has already really kind of set up these unanswered questions, and Mass Effect didn't really have too many. So I think that's something that people can kind of expect that's different, is that Mass Effect is very linear, and this game is going to be linear too, but the world in itself feels bigger to me, I
Right.
guess.
Yeah. I guess like I had watched the first episode last night and it feels like there's more room for conflict, I guess. And there was definitely a mystery element from the get-go. Like I think Mass Effect 1 had the most kind of mystery elements to it
For
in
sure.
terms of like, what um they didn't even know that the Citadel and mass relays were built by the Reapers. Like everyone thought it was just the Protheans. And there were so many mysteries around, the conduit and all that stuff. So I assume, yeah, that type of vibe. Would you say that it would be accurate to say that just for Mass Effect fans trying to jump into the Expanse, maybe the more sciency elements of Andromeda and like Mass Effect 1 is a good starting place to kind of go in with that type of expectation rather than like 2 and 3?
Um,
I don't know. A
Or
couple of things I thought about for people jumping into this game as their first Expanse experience is there's two main complaints that I can already foresee people having if this is their first time doing anything with the Expanse. And the first one is like obviously no aliens, and I know that's a
mhm,
big critique that Starfield had and other genres that don't have like any alien fictional creatures. And I mean, obviously there's a little bit of that in here, but there aren't any like alien civilizations or anything like that. And especially in the context of this timeline here. So I think I could maybe see that being a complaint for first time fans. And then
mhm,
also like they're pushing just a little bit of, semi soft exploration with this Expanse game. And the fact that, the Expanse universe only takes place in the solar system could maybe feel small to some people,
right.
but it really depends on like how much they really dive into exploring how big the Expanse world actually is in this game. So those are two things that I thought about initially.
Okay.
yeah, I think that's definitely true. Like the Expanse does have aliens, kind
Yeah,
of,
it's
but
complicated.
but it's not like Mass Effect aliens. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I just think that, you know, the team of Alcat is like very clearly trying to appeal to Mass Effect fans,
Mhm.
which is good. Like I think that there is enough crossover for them to do that. But I people should not go in expecting um actual aliens. It's more about the socio-economic and like the political landscape, and like what does space look like after humans have tried colonizing it, and what does space look like when um humans are shitty,
Yeah, yeah. So it's
like,
more
you
like a
know.
like a more gritty, realistic version
Yeah.
in a
Hmm.
smaller setting
Yeah.
than Mass Effect, I guess. Yeah. Okay. No, yeah. I think I can get behind it. But I was very confused watching the trailer, knowing I guess the context beforehand of the devs being like, yeah, we really want this to like, we were inspired by the trilogy and stuff like that. And I was like, there's no aliens. Like I guess I
Yeah,
was expecting something. I guess I was expecting something to potentially like fill my Mass Effect void while waiting for the next Mass Effect, but it's kind of more
It'll
adjacent.
probably be Exodus, if anything,
yeah,
which was gonna
Yeah.
have like more, like, the aliens in Exodus are still human and like, Earth based, but there's going to be a lot of variety. Um, and I think that they're going to really invest in that. Like their changelings and their awakened animals are going to be big selling points.
Right.
hmm
But for the Expanse,
Mhm.
I think it's more like, imagine Mass Effect with no aliens,
Mhm.
and it mostly takes place on Earth and the Citadel, and you're dealing with like the Council a ton because people like can't get their shit together, I guess. is how I would compare
Yeah.
them.
Gotcha.
But I think they're unique enough. Yeah.
Definitely. I think in the Expanse, when it comes to lore and story, you're probably not going to get much Mass Effect vibes at all from that. But in the trailer that they showed for the game, as soon as the gameplay came on, I was like, oh yeah, that's Mass Effect. Like it looks like a next gen Mass Effect game from that little snippet of gameplay that we saw.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think the
Yeah, makes me
gameplay
excited to see what Mass Effect 5 could actually look like if it exists.
Hey, I swear, guys, I just
If it's
I
real.
feel like that's what
It's
we're at.
coming. It's coming. Trust.
Okay, I have a couple things in my chat, I guess, where I had seen a couple like theories going by. And obviously I mainly do theories. So did you guys want to end off the stream with a couple theory stuff? Because I feel like we haven't got through I'm not sure where fight stands, I guess, on any of this stuff. I know that Cal is usually just, no Shepard and just, just with a knife. So fight. I wanted to ask you some stuff on your theories for the next Mass Effect.
Mhm.
I guess Kala, where do you want to start in terms of the theory stuff?
Timeline.
Timeline?
Where do you think the next game is going to take place?
Timeline. Okay, let's go.
Okay, where do I think the next game is going to take place? I think it will take place, after Mass Effect 3, but towards close to the Andromeda timeline. I think that the video you released, Kala, a while ago, the 700 years in the future one, is the theory video I think I've resonated the most out of every theory video for Mass Effect 5 I've seen.
Wait, sorry, which one?
The one with where she's talking about how it takes place hundreds of years in the future. Was it 700
Oh,
in that video? I can't remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like 600. Yeah.
So I think we're gonna see a distant Milky Way future, probably closer to that Andromeda time, and that's why I also think that it's Jal and Ryder in the bar
dude,
with Liara.
am I the only one that just believes wholeheartedly in the black hole in the middle of the Helios cluster being a wormhole? Like I feel
Yeah.
like
we were talking. I remember talking with people about that before Andromeda even came out. Like
they can't just put that there and then not do anything with it. I feel like it has to be a thing.
I'm here for it. Let's do it.
I don't know. Sorry, I don't want to bias you. I don't want to bias you, but so you do think it's going to be a larger time jump?
Yeah, that's probably where I would say. But there's also the problem is there's so much evidence for so many different time periods.
Yep.
And that's the issue here, is that nothing makes sense, but everything also makes sense for different things. And so
100%.
my answer right now, I guess, is 700 years after Mass Effect 3. But will it
Okay.
actually be? I don't know.
Yep.
Probably not.
Yep, for sure. Okay, I guess off of that then, what do you think about the protagonist?
Brand new protagonist, not Shepard or Ryder. I think it's
Okay.
going to be someone brand new.
I assume on the on the scale of Shepard to Ryder, you would want a more Ryder-esque protagonist?
No.
Oh, okay.
I prefer Shepard over Ryder for sure. I just don't. I wouldn't say I have the same passionately critique feelings that Kala has about Ryder. I wouldn't say I love Ryder. I don't dislike Ryder at all.
Okay.
I think Ryder's fine. I like
All
Ryder.
right. All right. Kala, do you have another theory?
Fuck them kids. I'll say that about Ryder. Also, I just got an ad on your page now too. The ads are just everywhere.
Wait, on my page?
Yeah. I don't know.
What type of ad was it?
YouTube is. I don't know. I click skip.
Okay.
I don't know what
the heck
they're doing.
Oh, you know what?
Say what you want about Ryder, but we can bring into Mass Effect 5 the Ryder romance scenes, because those were great.
Oh,
No.
really?
Okay,
I want
listen.
nothing to do with that. Okay, wait.
So
I want
sorry,
to put a
but-
poll up actually in the chat.
You know what? I think I'm by no means a prude at all. Like, trust me, if you guys knew what my other job is, you would know that. But no, the romance scenes in Andromeda to me are just, I find them really cringy. The only one that I think didn't cringe me out was Jaws. And even that I was like,
I don't know. I saw
did we need
Jaws.
that?
I didn't think we needed that. It made me uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie.
Would you
I think
rather
I'm all
have
for Fade to Black, personally.
Fade to Black,
Fade to Black?
100%. Look,
So
if I
you
had to
liked
rank,
Veilguard then?
okay, first of all, there was
How they
nothing in
did
the
it?
Veilguard.
Yeah, no, I don't. It was not spicy enough.
Look, just give me the Mass Effect 3 version. Okay? Show me a little bit and then fade to black. I do not need to see anything more. Like I just the Mass Effect Andromeda thing, it went too far. It went too far.
Have either of you played Baldur's Gate 3 and done Minthara's romance?
Oh my god, yes.
I
That's too much.
haven't.
That was
That
too
one.
much, but I was also like, I don't think we need to have that, but it's also fine if we do. But I think what was so good about that was it wasn't like just about, it was like very character focused. Like, if that makes sense, like there was a narrative purpose behind it.
That's what I would
Like,
prefer. Yeah, like if you're going to go
yeah,
there, at least have an actual almost story reason, if that makes any sense.
I'm all for the romance scenes, but I just like Cora's was like slap, 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 and it's like, okay, we get it, we can stop. And knowing that they had to cut it down because it was longer.
Oh man, can you
Oh my
imagine?
god.
Let's
Oh my
go.
god.
I
Like,
just nah.
bro, chill. Like, I know some dude was like animating that and he was like, we should make this longer.
Yeah.
And everybody in the room was like, get this man off this.
Gamble is like, yep, let's do it.
Yeah,
Jesus.
if Gamble's the executive producer, right, and he was the executive producer on Andromeda, then I guess we're getting the
I think
Mass
they
Effect
need
Andromeda romance scenes.
I think they
If
need
he's
some of that. Like, I think they need especially after Veilguard, which felt like it didn't really have a lot of
no,
like spicier scenes. And I don't need to see, but there's like
you don't need to see everything. Just show
narratively,
me
you're missing
something.
out on something. Yeah, like
Yeah,
narratively, if you're doing a romance, like Minthara's was like very in your face, but it felt very true to her character. And like so did Astarion, so did Halsin's with his bear.
the
I mean,
bear.
like, I think if it adds something narratively, if it explores an aspect of the character, if it adds a dimension to the romance, then they should do it. But I think that like, naked sex scenes for the sake of it is like, no thanks. I'll pass.
Mhm. I think for me, it
I
just kind of adds on to like if you're already in a dark and mature universe, I think including just a little bit of that stuff like helps emphasize that hey, this is a mature story we're telling. This is a mature universe we're in, and just kind of doubles down
Yeah.
on that.
yeah. No, I agree with that. I like what Blaze said in the chat here. Like Inquisition's romance was good because it focused
Yeah.
on the before and the after. I feel like that's what I
Exactly.
liked about the Mass Effect 3. Like I liked the conversation because obviously like Liara romancer over here. I liked the conversation that Shepard and Liara had before and after. Like you could even like just fade to black even like just after they kiss. Like I wouldn't really care. But I feel like just focus on that kind of like what's at the heart of the romance. You know? I don't know though.
Well,
Yeah, same.
Kala, you better be ready for Witcher 3 then, because it's crazy.
This is going to sound so silly. I have seen some of the scenes from Witcher 3, and I remember like it was like a compilation or something of like, the scenes, and there was that scene with okay, Nick, I love the Emperor romance scene from Baldur's Gate 3. It's so fucking it's so it's so I love it. I think it's so, I don't want to say funny, but like I remember watching it in my room by myself and being like shy. Like whole like covering my face, being like, "Oh my god, like what are you doing?" But it felt very like true to the character. But I totally forgot. Seeing um seeing uh The Witcher and like that scene where he's in the tub and his foot was out. I hate feet. Okay, like I genuinely hate feet. I think
You can
feet
add
are
it to the pile with
disgusting.
kids. Just
Ooh.
hate kids, hate feet.
I hate kids, hate feet. And
Ryder.
I remember being so off-put like by that scene in this like it was just like a TikTok or video. I don't remember what it was, but and it has stuck in my mind ever since, and I'm like dreading getting to that scene and worrying that there's more feet scenes in like the romance scenes, because if you play Claire Obscure, why is there feet everywhere? Put the grippers
There are
away.
feet everywhere.
Put them away. I don't want to see that. It feels like it's getting to the point where it's like
It's
starting to
fan
feel weird.
service.
It's like getting
Oh,
weird.
really?
Like,
I haven't played it
yes,
yet, so.
yes, I don't want to see people's feet. I don't need to see them. You keep your feet fetish to yourself. I don't want to see it. It grosses me out.
Oh, dear.
Yes,
I'm
it does
with you.
feel very much like Quentin Tarantino, and that's what I thought of when I saw that shot of The Witcher 3 of him in the bathtub. I was like, his feet are like glistening from the water. I'm gonna puke. So, yeah, I'm so sorry for the people who are here and are like, I need to click out of this stream.
I love how, yeah, we're ending it with feet. That is,
I'm so sorry.
honestly, it's on brand. It's on brand. Surf and Bird just joined and is like, I joined and I hear feet. Yeah.
I know. I'm so sorry.
You missed an
so
entire
sorry.
stream of just feet chatter, I guess.
Heck yeah.
Oh man. All right. It's 12 over here in the Pacific time zone. Is there anything else we want to? Are we going to end it with a feet discussion?
Oh,
Why
no,
don't you
we
ask
got-
one more question?
Yeah, we're
Sure.
gonna squeeze in one more thing.
Sure. Okay. Does anyone have another question? Okay, we're talking about the Mass Effect Andromeda romance. Okay, I guess we were talking about one last theory question. One last theory question. We've done a lot of Shepard chatter. How about we end it? Let's end it with Liara, because of course Liara is the best girl.
Yes.
Are we all Liara romancers here?
I am.
Let's freaking
Let's go, Liara
Let's go.
supremacy.
Yes,
Yep.
let's go.
I will say I am a big defender of the Ashley romance.
I'm looking forward to that romance. I will say, like, I feel like in Mass Effect, there's no like bad romance. Okay, let's just ignore Jacobs. I feel like besides for Jacobs, they're all pretty good. But anyway,
I think Ashley has one of the more realistic romances in Mass Effect.
That's what
why I like it.
I'm looking forward to Kaden and Ashley because I feel like it's more realistic. But yeah. Anyway, before we get sidetracked.
Yep.
In terms of the next Mass Effect, for theory stuff, what do you think? I guess twofold. What do you think Liara's role is gonna be in the next game? Like the redacted role that Gamble did with the whole Doctor Shadow Broker unredacted. And the second question is, do you think she will be a companion or more of a side character?
Tough questions today.
Yeah. I gotta end it with the tough ones.
You know, it's actually funny. The first time I ever saw that Gamble tweet with the redacted statement about Liara, for some reason, the first thing that popped into my head, like without even thinking about the tweet yet, was a sorry counselor.
Oh,
I could see that.
And I was like, that'd be a little crazy. But then
that
I also,
would be nuts.
It's weird that I think the game takes place so far in the future, but then I'm also on the team that the Liara in the trailer we've seen is like young Mass Effect 3 Liara.
Interesting.
So
Interesting, because I think it's older.
Yeah, there's so many things wrong with what I think what the next Mass Effect game is. That's why I just don't talk
contradicting.
about it anymore. Yeah, it's just like I don't even know what I think because I think so many different things that contradict each other. But I think I'd be surprised if Liara was a full-on companion again. I could definitely see her being like a more mentor or like mission giver character, like a Hackett or something like that.
I could see her being the Hackett for sure.
Same.
I
That's what I
could.
expect too.
I want her to be the companion though. Like I would just only if Shepard
I
comes
could see
back.
that too.
If Shepard comes back, I feel like in any other scenario, if it's a new protag, I would just be like, leave the trilogy peeps and the Andromeda peeps and just go with something new. But if Shepard comes back, I'd love to see her as a companion again.
Okay, I know that we're like getting to the end here, but I do have a question for
Go
you
for
guys.
it. Go for it.
If Liara is returning and she's older, what do you want? Say like 600 years have passed. What do you want her life to have looked like? Do you think she should have like moved on and found love after Shepard? Like, how do you think that the remnants of that relationship should be addressed?
That's a great question. I have not thought about this. Are you saying like if Liara was a Shepard romance specifically?
Yeah, and then we have to like, she
Okay, I
tells us
see.
about her life, like what, and 600 years have passed, this huge lifespan. What what do you guys envision that her life looked like after everything in Mass Effect 3?
Oh, this question just made me so scared.
Yeah, I think
I
this
have a
is
very toxic answer.
I already know what you're gonna say. You don't even need to say it, Cal. I know that you're like, I want her to be alone and just
Yeah.
pining after Shepard forever.
Yeah, that's probably what I would.
That's why I said it's
That's
toxic.
probably what I
Yeah.
would say. I would probably want Liara to be like the widow that never moved on.
It's so toxic and sad and
It's
depressing and like she deserves better, but I'm selfish.
Here's the thing,
Yeah.
right? Here's the thing. Also, Ruse Bay saying the trailer's answering you. I feel like that's also true in terms of her still not having moved on. But
Yeah, maybe.
this is a great question because I'm also currently working on a Liara breakdown that is going to take like 3 months, and I kid you not. So I have actually kind of been thinking about this. From what I can tell about her character, Shepard is everything to her. Which will be part of the breakdown. And I feel like she would struggle to move on. I would want her to move on. And I honestly, like, from the bottom of my heart, this is not coming from like a toxic place or a selfish place. I don't think she would fall in love with someone else. Like, I genuinely think that. Yeah, just from what I've been analyzing about her character and stuff like that, because
I have a counterpoint to that though.
Go for it.
Okay, well, I totally agree, but that's because that's what I want.
Right.
What I actually think is that, the Asari have that ingrained in them that any companion that they have will always live a shorter life than they do. Like they know that going in. There's a conversation about it. Like they know that. So I do see like a world where part of Liara's obsession with Shepard was like being their first love, being, Liara still being young. And then maybe later on in life, she's like, she can appreciate what she had and move on. But I also see the other version of that where like she is obsessive. She is fixated. She is
it's kind of it's a
Shepard,
little bit obsessive. Yeah, like it's a little strange.
700 years is a long time to pine after someone. It yeah.
I think she would move on. I would hope that like her friends if she still has friends, like if she doesn't just completely just bury herself in shadow brokery work, would be like, hey, let's move on now,
Well,
whether you're romance or not.
Shepard would die in Liara's young life anyways.
Yeah, so I feel like, I think I hope that it would go less from a pining to more of a I loved what we had, and I'm gonna move on in terms of not being sad and more celebrate it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think that's going to be interesting to see. And Shepard, Liara is obviously coming back.
Yeah.
I think that thing on Gamble's tweet is matriarch. That's what I think it is. But yeah, I mean, I will say though that for the naysayers about the time skip, it was Liana Rupert who is the person who reported that the time skip would be about 700 years after Mass Effect 3. Liana Rupert is very close with BioWare. She has reported on them several times. She's never, ever spoken more on that, on what she was told, but I fully believe that someone told her because at one point that was the truth. Whether that's still the truth, because obviously that was like, several years ago. But yeah, I think it's hard to say you know, what the time jump is. I think Liara is older in the trailer, and that's what Liana Rupert was told. So again, if that is the truth, which I do think it is, because that is Liana Rupert, she doesn't lie, she doesn't make things up, she's close with BioWare. There's no reason to doubt her. And I don't think they fed her misinformation either. They, if anything, they would have just not said anything. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
that's why I always lean that direction.
well, see, I mean, I guess just I'll end this just really quickly. I think it's gonna start 700 years in the future in Andromeda, and then they're gonna take the wormhole.
No.
I don't want that. I don't want that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You don't.
It's okay though.
It's the
Anything is
unhinged theory.
possible.
It's
And
unhinged.
honestly, right now when we can theorize about literally anything is fun.
Literally
Like, there's
anything.
no
Yeah.
right or wrong. So, and hopefully this N7 day we actually get something.
We need something.
Hopefully they show us. Yeah, we need something.
Even like at this point, I would take a single scrap of concept art, not even a trailer. Just give us anything above what they did last year.
Yeah.
Would be a win.
Literally anything.
Literally, just anything. Just BioWare if you're listening, please. One concept art. That's it. One. Anyway, does anybody else have any last theory questions before we wrap up?
I think we're good. But we should definitely do this again closer to N7 day.
Definitely.
I'm trying to get back into streaming now that I'm feeling a little bit better. So hopefully I can do some more of these. But for sure we should do something closer to to November, which is only like 5 months away.
Yeah. Do we want to do
It's
something?
not super far anymore. So
we could do something like the week before or something like that. See where everybody's at.
Yeah, something like that would be good.
Yeah,
I actually planned this year because I think this in 7 days going to be big because I think it has to be. I actually
100%.
plan on streaming all day on N7 day.
Oh.
I was gonna do all the stuff that I had planned last year this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had planned a lot of stuff, and then it was quiet.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what they do. Hopefully it's something. Fuck. But
yeah.
All right.
We'll see.
Thank you guys so much for joining today.
Yes.
Thank you everybody for joining and watching. And if you guys don't follow Atharia or if you don't follow Fight, I will link both of their channels in the chat so that you can go give them a follow. And again, thank you guys so much for joining. And I will be covering the Expanse game as well, obviously Exodus, and I know that these two will as well. So
yes,
make sure to give them a follow, and we will do this again soon.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks everyone.
A good time, and please go check out those links in the chat, and we will see what awaits us. We'll probably see you guys closer to N7 day.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks to Pondering as well for the $10.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.